if you could start by saying and spelling your first and last name.
Yeah, my name is Richard Inman, I-N-M-A-N.
All right, and what is your title?
I'm actually an outreach engagement specialist in the community across the Pacific Northwest, and I actually manage a Hope House where individuals come from vulnerable populations and kind of learn how to live this thing we call life, right?
All right, and just tell me a little bit about what Agape Camp is.
Well, for me, this is my first time coming to Agape Camp, and Agape Camp is a place where kids that have been affected by incarceration can come and kind of start healing from, what might not really seem to be their fault, but they sometimes can think it's their fault. And as they receive that agape love, then what happens is they start maybe turning their life from, where they could be headed. Myself, my parents were in active addiction and incarceration. And you might not know it, but I've actually been incarcerated for 22 years of my life. That just trauma and everything that led me to it. So it's a privilege to be here at Agape Camp and see these kids. If I would have had things like this when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have had to go through a lot of the things that I went through to get to be to this point right now. Yeah.
Tell me a special moment between you and a kid at Agape that has really just kind of changed your perspective as far as, wanting something like this when you were growing up.
So we have this devotion time at night, or this cabin time at night, where we kind of get to talk and wind down a little bit. And as I was sharing my story with these kids about being incarcerated most of my life, and how I thought that it was my fault for most of my life is why I did the things I did, to have these kids open up and just communicate that what they're going through and some of the things that they're seeing differently now, and know how they love the camp, and how it's just they love to come every year. And it's just like I just get emotional because it's a lot, right? Because we know where kids are headed if they don't get this type of something in their lives to move forward. We emulate our parents growing up, and most of these kids, if not all, have been affected by their parents and their choices. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about kind of your reason for being here and what you want your end goal to be when this camp wraps up on Sunday.
Well, my end goal would be for some of these kids to see some healing in what's going on in their lives, and I see it happening because I can relate to every one of these kids based on being that kid just like them, wanting to figure out why my parents weren't there. I would like to see these kids kind of know that it's not their fault, none of it's their fault, that their daddies could actually come out of prison and actually be influencers in the community and actually change people's hearts from doing what they did to get to a place to be useful. So what I would like for these kids to see is that hope and faith in Jesus Christ that we have here at this camp. It's amazing. I have multiple stories about things that when I was in prison that I didn't know about. For instance, prison fellowship has this thing called Angel Tree, and I actually used this Angel Tree to actually get in good graces with my kids who I abandoned and my wife who I abandoned. And I didn't know it at the time, right, of what it was. I just was using it to get in good graces with my kids. But later on, 15, 20 years later, I'm speaking at a big church and sharing the gospel in the church and sharing my testimony. And I see this prison fellowship Angel Tree. And I'm like, what are you guys? And they're like, well, we buy gifts for kids that are that their parents are incarcerated. And I didn't know it, and I started weeping inside. And I says, hey, I used to use you guys.
I used to buy
I used to use you guys to get in good graces, and I never knew until I met the Lord of exactly what you are. And I bought gifts for kids. And so these types of things of sowing intos and partnerships of things like that I didn't know then, but I do know now, can change these kids' lives. It's powerful. It's powerful beyond measure. So yeah, it's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, me and my mom both always grab an angel off the angel tree to buy. And I never knew the impact until having this conversation with you. So talk a little bit about to the person who may be doing the same thing I'm doing, buying off of the angel tree or, you know, donating money and really doesn't know the impact. Just speak on the impact that this has on kids.
Well, what you see at this camp is probably hundreds, if not thousands of kids that every year they wonder why they don't get what other kids get. But when you pick an angel off that tree and you give it and you purchase something, you don't know where it's going, but what happens is that what you see here before you is a product of giving to somebody and somebody not knowing where it's coming from. And then what you see around you is these kids that are growing in their faith and growing in their lives as a family structure, is that you support that, and they don't even know it sometimes, but it's a blessing what you do for people like me to do for families that you see all through Agape here. It's just an impact, a ripple effect that it's life-changing and miraculous. So that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
I think that's all I have. If there's anything that you'd like to leave viewers with that you think I may not have asked, or anything you'd just like to say.
I just would like to say that anybody who's watching this, I'm grateful for what you do for these kids, because I was once these kids. And to be here, to get to watch is from your prayers and your support of what you do. Resurrection life is exactly what it is. Resurrection. And I thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Is that okay?